Welcome to Smart Cleaning School. Are you ready to reshape your mindset and grow your cleaning business? Step into today's class with your guide, Ken Carfagno, so you can win for your family.
All right, welcome back to the Smart Cleaning School podcast, helping visionaries make the impact they were meant to make. And boy, do I have an awesome visionary with us today. Ricky Regalado, I just want to thank you so much for coming on to the show today. And there's so many topics that I want to just dig into, but just thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's dive into some fun stuff. And where I always go first isn't like, okay, let's talk about your 8 to 9 figure domination of the cleaning world. And how you're cleaning in every state in the country now. And you just bought janitorial store and you got Get Route and you were a keynote speaker on the Maid Summit, all those things. We'll get to those. I want to learn about Ricky. So this is one of those situations where, hey, I'll share. It's like kindergarten. I'll share first and then you share. So here's my story, Ricky. You were just asking me about my son, my oldest son, prior to me hitting record or starting the podcast. You know, he's my podcast editor and I have 5 kids. We homeschool. My oldest turned 17 next week, which is hard to believe. My youngest is 4. And we teach our kids, Ricky, from a young age. Around 11 is, the world out there is tough. And I don't trust me personally. I come from a corporate background. I was a mechanical engineer for 5-6 years before we started the cleaning company. But we don't necessarily believe that jobs are going to be a great future for our children. And maybe some of them, they may go that direction. We just believe that we need to help them take control of their future. We're a family of faith, we're a Christian family. So obviously we have a lot of disciple training that we do for our kids, but we believe that we need to teach them how to become entrepreneurs as early as possible. We teach them how to start their first businesses at 11, 12, 13, as soon as they can come aboard. My oldest guy, he's on his 4th different business and just figuring out the kind of stuff he likes. Now he's doing podcast editing. He's been doing this for me and he has some other clients for the past couple of years, outside of his homeschooling. That's a quick story on my family. We're from the Philadelphia area. We built our first company upstate New York that we sold in 2018, but we wanted to be back closer to family. Family is huge. I think we're going to connect on this a lot, Ricky.
Yeah.
Family drives me. Family gets me out of the door. Family is what makes me want to grow my business more so that I can be around them more than I even am. I just want to be with my family. I can be very introverted. And just hanging at home. I love that. Hang with the kids, hang with my wife, go out places. So that's a quick one on me. We'll dig into more, but tell me about you. Tell me about Ricky.
Yeah, man, family, you're right. I mean, I come from a Latino culture, right? I'm 100% Mexican myself. So, I mean, when I grew up, it was all family. Like I had a lot of friends. I went to many different schools. I think that was a benefit actually. But I grew up in a household of really 2.5 families. So it was my aunt and her kids, which are my cousins, they're like my brothers, right? And then I would have aunts and cousins always flying in and staying. So this home was a 3-bedroom home. We had 10 people there. But I thought for me growing up, this was normal. Like we would go to family parties and, we'd play kick the can, Puerta Salvado, red light, green light in the street, but with each other. We would venture with other friends, but we had such a big family that everything was us together. So without even purpose or intentionally, as I grew and I went out, ventured off, went to, college and went to work corporate America, same as you, right? I really quickly figured out, all right, I'm not a number. I don't like to be looked at as a number. I don't like really being told to just, hey, stay in your lane. That's not your department. But because I was a creative guy early on, and I just had a lot of ideas that I thought would be cool to share. Little did I know, and in corporate, they don't want you to share too many ideas, in my opinion. It's like, stick to what you do. There's a guy for that. When I started the business, it was with my wife and my cousin, but it was like, I thought that's the way you're supposed to do it, is you should have a friend or a cousin or a relative to make things easier. But I got to give you kudos. We didn't know entrepreneurship though. This was not something you do. My father always worked in manufacturing. My mom always worked in the marine and manufacturing. Everybody worked for somebody. Nobody started off anything in my family. So it was very scary to do it, but I did feel confident. I was like, yeah, I got my cousin on my left. I got my wife on my right. I got my dad, my aunt. I'm like, I'll be okay. This could work. I got their protection, their security with me.
That is such an interesting background. How old were you when you came here? to the US?
I'm born and raised. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm born and raised. I'm a first generation
Okay.
entrepreneur with my family, and just,
Okay. So you're from Chicago then, that area?
yeah,
Okay.
born and
Okay.
raised. My father moved. We joke about it. Like he tried 3 times, got deported back. Fourth time he made it. He got into the U.S. from Mexico, but that's when he met my mom. He got married early on. My mom was 19 when she got married.
So she was a US citizen.
She was a U.S. citizen. Yep.
How old was your dad when he on his fourth attempt?
Fourth attempt, he was 19 himself.
Wow.
Lived in a garbage dumpster for like 8 months in Dallas because he was making his way to Chicago. Like he had family here. He had a sister.
That was my next question.
He knew
Why
where
Chicago?
he knew where he was going. It just took him a minute to get there. Dude, and you're talking about he never went to school, no education at all, not even kindergarten. Didn't get his first pair of shoes till he was 15 years old because he worked on the cornfield. Like the good thing about my family back in Mexico is my grandfather had a lot of land. Not typical, but that was how you made a living in Mexico. Is you had a farm, you had a land, you had crops. That's how you got by. And he had a big family, 10 brothers and sisters.
Are you connected? Are you and your wife, your children connected with your family in Mexico?
Not too much, man.
Your grandparents?
Family here, my grandmother and grandfather from that side, they passed away when I was really young. But yeah, there is, that's the only unfortunate thing right now is there is not a strong connection with my family back in Mexico. But the family that he has here, we do speak and see each other, cousins of cousins, right? Like I'll run into them, and it's tough, man. When you do have a big family, as you do start to, everybody goes their own direction, I guess you can say. But my close-knit family, my mother's 3 sisters, we're close as hell, man. Very core part of the family.
Is your mom from Dallas then or Chicago?
Well, my mom's in Chicago.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he got to Chicago, met her here.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny.
Okay.
He met her at a baile.
Where?
At a baile. So it was like a dance.
Oh, okay.
Dance hall. So here's an interesting fact. The family that I lived with, that I told you that we lived in a home growing up, that was my 2 cousins, Vito and David. Their mother is Tina. Tina is my mom's sister. My father is Jose. Jose's brother is Jerry. Jerry is Tina's husband. So the 2 brothers married 2 sisters.
You're full cousins.
Oh, like
you're 100% cousin.
Yeah. So my side's Regalado. My cousins are Regalados. We're as close as you can get. We're basically like brothers. Where I look, talk, have the same same traits and characteristics as my cousin, and my cousin is more like my brother. So it's pretty.
Yeah.
If you see us in a room together, you're like, man, you're more like him though, or he's more like you. But I got to believe it's because of that. My father and his dad.
Yeah.
Being
Oh, no doubt. Do you have siblings from your parents?
I have a brother.
You have a brother.
My brother's Alex. He's our CFO.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's my younger brother that basically fucking turned our company into a very green and just process and protocols company, man. He's 9 years younger, and I would never have imagined that he would have come on board. It was a godsend. It really was. My father, if he was alive today, he'd be stoked, man, seeing that my brother's working with us, because he has a soft spot for my brother. He raised my brother growing up.
So to say, it's Rosalato, right? Rosalato and Company.
Yeah, and Rosalato, Ken, comes from, I don't. You may have heard this part.
I don't know.
My cousin's last name is Pedroza.
Okay.
My last name is Regalado. Combine the Rosa, his end to my end of the last names, and it just created Rosalato.
So to say that Rosalato is a family business is an understatement.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's funny because people will say, introducing Ricky Regalado, and I'm like, not quite, but or they call the company Regalado, and I'm like, almost, but not. But yeah, understatement for sure.
Well, a lot of people say that, I have a family business, meaning that our family runs a business, right? But you have a family business the way that which is you grew up in the home, 10 people in 3 bedrooms. And then you have your family has always been tight. You don't know anything different. So what I find so interesting is you start a company and you're like, well, why would I have anything different with me starting a company? Anything we do, we're a pack. Anything we do, we're together.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a negative notch or a mark on us, but dude, that's why recruiting is tough, man. Recruiting and hiring, because especially early on, Ken, it was always, well, cousin Mackie could do it, or cousin David could come on. He could take that on. Or what about my uncle? My uncle Jerry could do it. Like we went to the family first.
Interesting.
So not like we didn't go to a resume. There is no resume. Like early on, it was family, family, family. If they don't understand it or know it, let's send them to a class. They'll figure it out. 85% of the time it worked, man. There was some that it wasn't for them and they went to do their own thing.
Out of curiosity, you said your mom has a Mexican background as well, although she was born here, right?
She's 100% Mexican.
Okay. So how much of your family speaks English versus Spanish or both? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, they all do. They all speak both language. Well, because of the structure, like we have 80% Latinos that work at Rosalado.
Okay.
So Spanish is spoken quite often in the office. And it's helped me keep my Spanish going because it wasn't, after I left high school, went into college, I really didn't speak too much Spanish other than my father didn't speak English. So he was my connection to speaking Spanish because my mother and my aunt and my mother's side, they spoke English first. That's just how we communicated. The Spanish came really from my dad's side of the family.
Where'd you go to school? What'd you study? What was the corporate track? When'd you meet your wife? Is that along that path? Let me hear that path.
Oh, for sure, man. So I've been with my wife since I was 19. She was 17. So I've been with her for over 20 years. We were girlfriend and boyfriend up until 6 years ago. We got married 6 years ago. So we put our business in front of our getting married first. Like we just kept putting it off. But I went to literally 4 different high schools because my mom moved to Florida at some point. I came back. College, I went to 5 different colleges because I had the dream to be a basketball player.
Really?
That didn't work out. But I played ball. I played basketball at Millikan University. But then I quickly knew that it wasn't going to happen. So it was okay. Then I went back home to community college. That's when I got together with my wife at that time, was when I moved back home. Then I went back away to Illinois State, Loyola. I graduated from Columbia College. And I got a marketing degree in sports marketing, right? Again, sports was always something I wanted to do. But graduating first 6 months, I did not land a single internship. A lot of my stuff early on, I did not have a lot of accomplishments, in my opinion, when I tried to do so much and never made it. I never got accepted. I was down to the second person. I was almost hired. I was almost brought into this program. So as of late, a lot of the recognition and awards that I've been winning has been
long time coming.
Long overdue, in my opinion. Yeah. So there's a cool tie here too, Ken,
okay.
So I graduate college. I go into the mortgage industry and I find Dominic, who's on a lot of my podcasts because he's now my director of operations. I found Jay Gonzalez, who's my partner and runs the Rosa Contractors and Maintenance company that we have right now.
Okay.
He was my boss. Right out of college, these people became my mentors and taught me sales and taught me what I think is close enough to entrepreneurship as I thought it could be. In the mortgage industry, you got a team, you got a pod, you got a appointment setter, a cold caller, a junior LO, a senior LO. You got a team. You feel like your own business there. We had a few years of success. Market crashed, went downhill. Me, Dom kept sticking together. We were
She's on 05 to 08.
05 to 08, yeah. And
okay.
Then 09 and 2010, man, it was struggle. It was dude, we're nowhere near where we used to be. And Dom is my mentor at the time, right? He's the one who showed me the ropes on the sales side there. And we just kept going job to job together. And I was with Marley the whole time. So that's why Marley and him are very close. But we corporate, then we went to the Groupon and Inner Workings companies here in Chicago, 2 big Fortune 100 companies. That was the moment I would tell Dom too, I'm like, dude, I don't like this. I'm going to go on my own. I'm going to start this business with my wife. I don't know if it's going to work. Don't follow me. Do your thing. We will meet again. So he went off and he did his own thing he worked at BMO Harris Bank, I think. But it's crazy because that was 2012. Come back to 2016. Dominic's back in my life. I cut his salary in half. I told him to take a risk on me. And now it's all paying back, coming to fruition. But he was one of the first non-family members that, when we talk kind of about, first, it was always first find family. Then you get to the point, at that point, we were coming up to 2 million in revenue. And that was just me, my wife, running the business and doing everything, right? We had manpower cleaning, we had manpower inspecting, but I was doing the books, I was doing the invoicing, I was doing the quality control, I was doing hiring, and it was overwhelming. So when I started to bring people like that back in is when we catapulted to the next level. So it's like, I feel like the early on years is something we could talk about for hours, because I hope and I wish small cleaning companies get to the 1 million in revenue and surpass it. Because once you do, man, our blue collar industry, the bar can get raised. And you talk about people that can make a difference in our industry. It's the small business owner, not the medium, not the big. The more small businesses break through the 1 million mark, the better for our industry.
There's about 9 or 10 things you said in there that I would love to unpack. I just wrote down a couple of things. Wow. Okay. You already answered one of them. I was going to ask you about that transition of hiring the family to non-family, but you also said something else very interesting. You're the first I've heard talk about using, essentially outsourcing your entire workforce, right? Manpower, you like the company Manpower. So you had them doing all the cleaning and inspecting. So essentially you outsourced the cleaning itself from the very beginning.
So this is something I thought I may not say on here, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to share this stuff here.
Okay.
It's tough to hear our industry and a lot of the small business owners in Facebook, right? You hear them saying they struggle and they want to hit 6 figures, 7 figures in that first year, second year. I'm like, man, it takes 3, 4, 5 years at some point, right? Like, dude, the first 3 years, nobody knows, right? But our first 3 years of the business, I had a DUI. I couldn't drive for the first almost 4 years of our business. We launched. 2 months later, I got my DUI. I was out of commission. My wife drove everywhere.
And this is 2012.
This is 2012 to 2016.
Oh, wow.
And we broke 1 million. We broke 2 million, like 50 employees, 70 employees. But we were stuck doing a lot of the work, right? We were still doing a lot. And it was 10 times harder because we couldn't separate. Like, you know how like you say to that point where 2 heads is better than one? Mm-hmm. Hey, you go take north side, I'll take the west side. I'll clean 10 houses, you clean 15 offices, I'll do this. Like, there was no separating. You had to drive everywhere. So like when people say they struggle, you got a car, you got your body, and you got time, you can get a lot of stuff done. You get a partner in, replicate it, break off, you get a third person in. This can be done, man. It can be done if you just check your ego at the door and know that you are going to be a cleaner for the first 3, 4 years of the business. And that's okay. You should be proud of that.
What did your schedule look like? Just give the people out there just a taste of what you and your wife were physically working 2013, 2014, 2015, before anyone knew who you were. You're out there hustling.
2.5 to 3 years, we were coverall first, right? Remember, I bought into a franchise.
Yep, I'm familiar with
that. That is one piece I could say we kicked off a little differently than really building something from the ground up where we had like 30 accounts. But what we didn't know, Ken, is we lived 1.5 hours away from that territory. And in Chicago, 1.5 hours is a long way, right? So
it's a long way anywhere you go.
Yeah, anywhere you go. So the first 2.5 years, we're driving 1.5 hours to accounts that were 1 day a week, 1 hour cleans, 5 days a week, 2 hour cleans, 7 days a week, 1 hour clean. Like frequency was all over the place. Yes, it sounds like a lot when you have 30 accounts, but half those accounts were like 1 or 2 days. We had to get really good at logistics and mapping it out and saying Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, we're going here, 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 from this time to this time to this time. Wednesday, we're going here. So we got really good at logistics and breaking off everything, right? Or she would drop me off, go clean 4 accounts, pick me back up. You know, like it was 18-hour days, 18 to 20-hour days for the first 2.5 years. No family parties. My friends didn't see me for 3 years. I was off the grid because there just was not enough time. If we were going to make this work, there was not enough time to really have a social life because we had a vision. We did. After the first 6 months of me thinking this was a side hustle, I was like, if we focus and do this right, Marley, at some point we will get out of the cleaning. But we're not going to do that if we don't live and breathe it.
Was that the vision?
Yeah. The vision was I want to work on this business because I feel like I can make an impact. If I can work on it and make strategic decisions and hires and sales and build a business, you know, I would say, babe, we don't have to do anything else again. Like, this is it. Anything we do will evolve around this industry and business. And that's all come to fruition. Because
so that fueled you. That fueled you 18-hour, 20-hour days for 3 years. And Chicago's not warm in February.
Oh, dude, in the winter, oh my God. We didn't have kids, so that was another plus.
That helps. That helps a lot.
For the first 6 years of this business. we would come home and we'd be like, I say this one all the time. Hey, did you lock the door? No. Did you lock the door? And we just sat down. Like, you know the feeling when you sit in the bed?
I do.
Oh, man, that was like 20 hours of work to get up and have to drive. To get there, to know, yep, the door's locked. And that's it. And drive all the way back.
You actually got up and went and checked.
Oh, no, we got up. Oh, yeah.
And
Because we were so worried. I was so worried about every account. I did not want to lose anybody. Every customer mattered. I didn't care if you were 1 day a week to 5 days a week. And then what we did learn, Ken, too, is by doing the cleaning, because again, remember, I didn't price some of this stuff. Some of these accounts were inherited.
Yeah.
And it taught me how to then go price. Why? Because we would sit there. There's this one account in particular. It was 5 days a week, 1 day a week. It was almost 7,000 square feet, a clinic, like 12 exam rooms. And I'm like, after we first cleaned, and we didn't look at the time, we just cleaned. I'm like, Mark, we've been here for 3 hours. I mean, we're done. We cleaned, it's good quality. But I'm like, this is priced for 2 hours, one person, 2 hours.
Ouch.
How are we going to do this? Like, so we'd have fun. She would run with the garbage can and I would throw the garbage, like line it up. Then she would line up the kit so then I can clean, and she would spray first and then I would come behind, and it was all strategic. I'd figure it out. What is
Do you have any videos of this?
Yeah, like what is production rate these people talk about?
Dude, do you have videos of this?
Oh, dude, I wish I did. You
need to dig something up from this era. People need to see this or hear this. Is this the first time you've talked about it?
Some of these occasions I've talked about, but not so detailed, because usually podcasts are like 30 minutes. So
yeah, well, I want to get into the fun stuff. I like to get to know people. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, wow, keep going.
And you learn accounts though. No, Rick, I didn't do this to clean. I get it. Trust me, nobody does this to be the cleaner. You have to work your way out of a 10, 15 an hour position. I get it, but you can't pull anything on me, right? Like I know everything about how to clean. I'm not the best cleaner. I'm not the most efficient cleaner, but I know the basics and the fundamentals where I could do on a walkthrough, start an account. I can go sell an account. I understand what the scope looks like. I understand what dilution looks like. Just make yourself that much more well-rounded, I guess, right? You're a well-rounded business owner that may be a CEO. You may stay on as the chief marketing person. You may stay on as the COO. I think we lose touch of, just because we're an owner of a company, you may still be an owner with a C-level position though. So you're still you're involved. You still need to know. The minute you lose touch, you're just an owner now. You limit.
Do you still find yourself going into the field just to show people that you're still involved?
Oh yeah.
Now?
More so sales. I mean, if it's a big account though, I do like to kind of help with account setup, but it does become where it is tough to get back in. I would love to.
When you do, how does that really land with the team? Are they like, wow, look at him, he's here with us?
Oh yeah. Especially now here in Chicago. My team's in Chicago because they've seen some of these articles, or they'll see like one of the Univision specials, right? Where they're like, it's Ricardo, Ricky está aquí, in Spanish they talk. But dude, I don't even think about it though. It's like, I help, you get it. You're just so naturally involved, or we are, with each other, everybody here, any position you hold, it does not matter, which I think could sometimes hurt us because you don't want to practice that all the time, right? Like you do want a process, and it affects if an operations person comes in and does the job of an area supervisor, but it doesn't mean you can't just pop in and say hi, right? Like we're one position we struggle to launch, but it is my goal in life is to have a chief people officer, right? So you see technology companies have this, and I see how in our industry it would work, man. Imagine if you just had somebody who their sole job was to go out, look at Ken at 9 p.m. in the clinic or in a restaurant, after hours, lights are out, they're by themselves cleaning, and you see this person come in and just ask you how you're doing. How are you doing? How's the kids? Do you need anything from us? It's been like a month since I saw you in the office. You don't get to come to the office all the time. But imagine if you could connect with them like that. Because dude, you feel alone out there. Like when these cleaners, and the minute they feel alone, we're just a job. And now they're going to leave. There's no culture. The company doesn't matter to them. All it is a paying check. And you've lost at that point. You'll lose.
That right there was pretty powerful, Rick. Pretty powerful. Okay.
That's important, man. I mean,
yeah.
People talk about it, people are everything, but my buddy Dave Thompson said an engaged employee though is even better. Like an employee is an employee, but somebody who's engaged and like connects with you and they know your names, right? How many employees do some of these business owners, you could probably say they don't know everybody in management in the office. That means they don't come into the office that much. Like that's our fault. You know, when I know somebody doesn't know my name, I'm like, I didn't introduce myself. I've been away from the core group of the company that they don't even know my name. Like it hurts. That's when you start to feel like, am I getting too big for this? That's not right. Like that's not our vision. That's not what we have set out to be, was that C-level exec that sits in the corner office and doesn't speak to anybody. Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the industry I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. This is the part of the direction I want to take a few of these next questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go backward again in time. You'll see I do that a lot. We'll go forward, then go rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to your first with your dad. So your dad came to Chicago. He was looking for a family. What was his first job and what was it that you saw him doing growing up?
So the first job that I remember as a kid was he was a driver for a tortilla company here in Chicago called El Totonilco. And they're still around. But they were just corn tortilla manufacturer. He was a driver. That was the first job that I seen him that I knew what a job was, right? I was like 8 or 9 or even 10 years old. But then after that, all I ever remember was him working late at night. He would leave with lunch, come back with lunch. And I didn't see him as much growing up. Like when I say he got laid off and then he started to watch my brother, he was a stay-at-home dad for a while, because my dad, he didn't have his papers in order. He didn't speak English. He didn't have a driver's license. He never drove. He had no driver's license his whole life. I take it back. He did drive, but he lost it. But he struggled. And to see his face when he started working with us, and for him to tell me, Rick, I've worked for 40 years, manufacturing, driving skids, driving forklifts. This is the highest paid job I've ever had, was working with us. In 40 years, Ken. Because he was a minimum wage guy. Every job he worked, it was minimum wage. And that was tough for my mom. She got her GED, but she was a woman in a man's world where she worked on the line at a manufacturing.
So both your parents worked?
Yeah. Well, I was raised by my grandma.
Oh,
my grandma's the one who really raised me.
Okay. I didn't hear that part.
No, yeah.
We have that in common.
No, yeah. My grandmother raised me because they both had to work. But yeah, my mom's the one who made the money though.
By the time your brother was growing up, your dad was with him.
My dad stayed home. He
right.
got laid off. He didn't work for a while. And but that's for me, minimum wage jobs or low paying jobs or blue collar, that's all I knew. Nobody in our family worked in that industry of, banking or corporate America and even teachers or cops. No, I didn't have any of that.
So where'd the motivation come from? I mean, obviously the work ethic, you saw that clearly in your family. You have the communal aspect of your family. You have the work ethic you saw, but now you're going to go to college. Is that something that you saw in your family? Are you the first one to go to college?
I was the first graduate in college too.
So where'd that come from? Where'd that drive come from?
Well, I liked school. I actually liked school. In high school, I loved it. Junior high, loved it. I enjoyed going to school. So I saw people were going, but it's crazy. I applied to maybe 70 schools. I got into one.
70 colleges?
Yeah, I got into one. I'm talking because I wanted to leave, right? So I was like, oh, UCLA, Duke, Penn, USC. I was applying I think it was a game. I was like, all right, how many applications can I do? My mom's like, Rick, I got to pay $30 every time you apply. What the hell are you doing?
That's $2,100.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I did it. I didn't get in. I got into Milliken though, so that was good. But I just knew I wanted to, follow suit, take the next step. I saw my friends going. So it was just, I kind of followed what my friends were doing.
So you wanted success, right?
I wanted success.
You saw your dad working hard, but not making a lot of money. I'm dissecting a bit. I'm just reading into between the lines. You saw your dad working really hard. You never saw him, and he wasn't making enough money even from all that work. And you're thinking, okay, I want to have that same work ethic, but I want to have a better opportunity than my dad had. And so the only thing that you perceived at the time was, well, other people are going to college for success, so I need to do college, and I like school. I don't want to assume that's what it is, but that's what I'm reading into it.
No, yeah, I assumed because then I started to see my mom start to be recognized a little bit, and like she would start to travel. Now she was in a management position. She was growing in her company. So it was really watching her grow. And I was like, Mom, what do I got to do next? Like,
You saw the corporate structure with your
yeah, I was
mom.
like, what do I got to do next to get to, I want to make money for us, for a family. She's like, well, you got to go to
College.
school.
Got to go to college.
You got to go to, got to get your degree, which, I'm a big advocate for school, but at the same time, I think you got to learn at your pace. Like there's so much different
Sure.
stuff that I should have learned in college that I didn't because it's so cookie cutter, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
you have to take this course, you have to do this. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with what I want,
Oh.
but I'll do it, whatever, So I don't even talk about that. But
yeah. Well, you got that. Your mom had a map. The only map that she knew to draw, which is from where she was. Okay. To get the step, I'm at step D. I've had to work my brains out to get here. I think my son could probably get to step A, B, and C much faster if he goes to college and gets this degree. So she just saw that you could see. I totally make sense. I was in the same boat. I mean, I come from my mom's side. They are all college, master's level and above graduates. So I'm not the first one at all in that side. On my dad's side, the Italian side, I'm the first one that went to college. And they were so proud because I went to Penn State engineering. They're like, wow, he's so successful. He's going for engineering at Penn State. Like, that's what they knew. I was like the college graduate. They'd like tease me a little bit, like, give me a pencil, you pencil pusher and this, that. But the other side of the family, I'm just a number in a sense, because everyone did that. But that's the only map I was given too, is if you want to succeed, work hard, go to college. I don't want to do the blue collar thing like my dad did. He worked for an electric company, Philadelphia Electric Company, digging ditches, running backhoe machines, jackhammers in the street, working all kinds. He used to call blood money, working the nights, the weekends, every day. I'm like, why? I want that work ethic, but I don't want that work. And so for me,
think about it too, Ken, it's fascinating. It's been fascinating now that I've been building the tech side of stuff too, where you see, man, I had a good point here. What is it? So I feel like it's starting to shift where blue collar, let's take immigrants, right?
Yep.
You could say, our parents are immigrants, right? So
absolutely.
I feel like immigrants by heart are entrepreneurs, because coming here, they're like, man, I don't know what it is to do this school thing. I'm just going to open up a shoe repair shop, right? I'm going to open up a meat shop. I'm going to open up, a dry cleaning. Like for them, especially Indians, right? Indians come here, they're entrepreneurs the minute they hit the
no
ground.
doubt. No doubt.
But it's like, you're starting to see though, that this blue collar immigrant can go to school or is intelligent enough to build what is the future now is technology, right? Love it or hate it, you don't get a 10x on a blue collar business. You get a 10x on a technology product, right? Mm-hmm. Or an invention or a SaaS product or all these things that is tech related. But I'm seeing the shift now of blue collar that has that drive and entrepreneurial spirit. Now they start to take risks, man. There's a lot of people taking risks to say, I can build a product too. But I feel like they weren't engineered to think like that. But this generation that's coming with internet and phones and computers, they are, man. Like they are saying, all right, I know I can be an entrepreneur because I've seen my family now is doing it, but I want to build this product. I'm going to go on a whim and do it, not follow the family business and build. Where traditionally, white collar is you go to school for 6 years, you get your pedigree, you do this, you do that, X and Y is a result of Z, and boom, you've landed.
But they
lose the grit. They don't have.
I was just about to go there. There's an intersection here that they're missing, is that this generation, they grew up thinking everything happened so quick. And let's use the example, like, so my son and we follow the cryptocurrencies. They're super. Dude,
I got to learn crypto.
Okay.
I got FOMO.
Different topic. And I am not a big player. We bought some this year and we've been watching
NFTs.
Right. Yeah. All that stuff.
FOMO.
Yeah. It's okay. But it's funny because, like, if you look at Bitcoin and you just look at a chart of Bitcoin, a 1-year chart, it looks exactly like a stock chart for like Microsoft. And I was showing this to my son. I said, let me just show you something. Because he's like, hey, I'm studying the trend. It's going to do this next. I said, no, 6 months of it going up from, 20,000 to 65,000, back down to 30, up to 50. I said, that happened in 9 months, 12 months. That's not a trend. A trend isn't 6 months. Let me show you Microsoft, IBM. I showed them some actual trends over like a 20-year span. You can see the same trend line over 20 years, but with Bitcoin, it's happening in 6 months.
Dude,
And,
yeah.
but the point of that is there's this mindset that things happen fast now. Everything happens fast. Everything's easy. It's easy money. And so with all the people that are going into technology, I was just about to ask you, where are they going to develop the grit? Where are they going to develop the perseverance, the apply to 70 colleges and only one gets them in? Where are they going to develop that backbone?
Yeah, dude, that's it right there. Backbone, man. Like my first 3 years of doing what we did was my backbone. That show, because again, I felt the fast money in the mortgage business. I did. I saw the Lambos. I saw the Ferraris. I saw the Rolex watches. I saw guys in suits, and I was like, dude, it was like Boiler Room. Remember the movie Boiler Room with Vin Diesel?
A long time ago.
Like that was the life I was living. I was like, oh, so this can happen fast for me. Okay. And we went back to reality, and it was like, man, what happened? Like we were up here, but that moment is when we were like, all right, it could happen though. Never forget that you can go up and down. So keep pushing. Be intelligent and smart with your decisions that you make. Think of longevity versus short wins.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. And you're right. Like with this generation of this, especially this, yeah, that was actually a good analogy. I didn't think about that. Like a trend isn't a short period of time. That's a risk, high risk. Like
no doubt.
Because that could turn around on you real quick. One day you're loving it, feeling it. But that's where in our industry, you can grow your grit to build a long-term working business, because we're contracts, we're annual, we're reoccurring, we're recession proof, we're pandemic proof now. Like I'm telling you, man, people are noticing about our industry, Ken. Like private equity companies, dude, I get letters every week.
Really?
Offers. Yeah, we're up to like 40 plus offers to buy the business.
Is it
This is not
tempting?
from other cleaning companies.
Is it tempting?
This is PE private equity firms that know, holy cow, this industry just went through a pandemic and didn't even get phased.
Yes.
If they did get phased, it was because the clients of it, but they did it right, pivoted, nothing happened. They grew. If anything, we grew from this industry. So I got to tell you, man, I love our space.
Is it tempting?
I used to be the guy that would walk in the first 5 years of my business. I would be the guy that would walk in and, what do you do? I'm a guy. I own a cleaning company. I own a cleaning company. Where now it's, hey, I own a facility services commercial cleaning company. Like I'm loud, right? And I yell it, and they're like, oh wow, so you know what? I need cleaning, dude. My first 5 years, I did not like being known as a cleaning service owner. It was not glamorous. Nobody really paid attention to me.
Ooh, you're hitting some buttons right now.
They would walk away, and then in a networking event, they'd be like, oh, what do you do? Oh, you own a cleaning company? Oh, cool.
Right.
And they would walk away from me, and I'm like, man,
I know.
I got no respect here.
It's like in my local chamber and meetings, like, wait, the cleaning guy has a podcast? They rub their head. They're like, I don't understand.
Good.
Yes. But it's right. You're right about that. I've seen the same shift. What you're pointing out about our industry and how it became a little bit more infamous versus inconspicuous, maybe, is when I heard Mark Cuban, and I like him. I think he's a very smart guy, knows technology. And I listening to one of his talks, and he brought up the cleaning industry during the pandemic. It was kind of in a discussion about, where are the next billion-dollar companies coming from? And he said, you know what? A lot of them are going to come from this time period, because when things are down, when chips are down and paradoxes change and people like, oh, like, wow, there's this missing hole. Let's build it. Let's create it. Let's go do it. The entrepreneur comes alive during that time. And he says, you watch a ton of new Facebooks and Twitters and those kind of companies are going to emerge out of this pandemic. And he basically says, watch out for the cleaning world. And he says, I own the Mavericks and I've got this building. It needs to be cleaned. This arena for basketball. He's like, and Mark's like, I never once thought about cleaning, but I do now, because I want to make sure that my seats are disinfected and cleaned. And I was like, did Mark Cuban just talk about cleaning?
Yes.
I was like, what? But it wasn't the first time. And it was cool to see that shift. I
Dude,
totally
you're
agree.
in the spotlight, dude. We're being recognized. I mean, I tell
Yeah.
you, I've got talks now with some of these bigger companies, corporate companies that, one just yesterday wants to give us a 4 to 5 million RFP, right?
Wow.
He wants to put it into route, right? So where he's like, Rick, I purposely want you to find me small business, minority owned local providers in the different cities we have properties. Give them the business. You manage it for me though. I don't want to deal. I don't want to deal with any small vendors. You manage it, but I want to know you're giving it to those small providers because the more business they get in those areas, the more the economy is going to grow from the blue collar perspective in those areas.
Okay.
So there's a client telling me, like
Yep.
that, dude. That these conversations I'm having with clients is different than it was 3 years ago. They're understanding, boots on the ground, local service providers. That's your best way to getting the best service you can versus some of these national big companies that, employees staffing is tough right now. Who is going to do a better job? An employee at 14, 15 an hour or a business owner in that same area that has employees, or if the employee doesn't do a great job, he's going to step in and do a better job. Because why? They care. It's their business. It's their name on the line. They have their blood, sweat, and tears. They're going to get it done where this employee could just say, hey, I don't have babies here. I'm not going to show up today. Like, do you want to manage that person or you want to work with this person over here? Yeah.
Okay. So I want to go back again. Before I do, I had to ask the question. Has it been tempting on those offers?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Just tempting. But for me, it's family first, right? Like I'm still probably 4 or 5 years away from even entertaining something like that.
Right.
Just because I want to make sure my family's in a good place and that we're all taken care of.
But it's still shocking to think that a cleaning company. Okay.
6 to 7 EBITDA, man. 6 to 7x EBITDA. That was not the case 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the same type of company would have offered probably 1 to 2x.
Yeah, 6 to 7 is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I sold my first one. It was a small solo cleaning company, but it was 3x.
Yeah.
Which 2 to 4 was around the average a couple of years ago. But to think of, that's amazing. So I will go backward, but another question for the current. So if new cleaning companies are being born, when they are every single day, there's more this year than there was
52,000 last year
in 2020.
52,000.
Do you know what the number is this year by any chance?
Not yet,
but it's going to be higher, I'm sure.
Because the average was 31.
31 for how long? How long was that average for?
2006 to 2018.
Wow. So 30,000 and then it jumped to 50. It's probably going to hit
50.
Probably
COVID
70.
had something to do with it.
Is that commercial and residential?
It was just cleaning in general. So it's got to be both. There's no way that could just be commercial.
50,000, probably 70 this year. So a question I have is there's a viewpoint that we have from 2018 and beyond when cleaning wasn't glamorous. And I go back to 2005, year 2012. And you're like, yeah, I have a cleaning business. But now people are starting out. Cleaning is cool. It's hip. And it could be even paired with technology. People are like, yeah, cleaning. I'm quite cleaning business. How, in your view, do you teach those newer people a humility about the industry? How do you teach them the history so that they don't think that it was always this cool? Because I don't think it's healthy for them to think, here's what it is, but it's always been like this.
Oh, man, that's a good one. So I have people that'll fly in here. And, I got people that want to work with us from out of state. And they're just like, I see the videos. I see you're making cleaning look, like you said, look cool, look fun. I'm like, yes, we have a good environment. We have great culture. But you're in the field. You got to learn, even all the high exec, our C-level execs or our high management people. I keep forgetting that the protocols that have worked, that have made people successful with us, is we send them to go clean for 30 days. Go in the field, clean, know what it is to get an inspection, know what it is to clock in and clock out, know what it is to try to use the key and the key doesn't work. And all of a sudden you got to call in and get an emergency backup key, know what it is to not be reprimanded, but to be given a bad inspection. Like, I want you to know the feeling of you just put 3 hours of work in and then somebody just told you missed something, versus on top of you just put 3 hours of work in and somebody said thank you to you. So like all those different feelings and emotions, you have to learn those. I don't care how glamorous this looks, because we've heard it before where oh, I didn't know I was gonna have to go clean, and I thought I was gonna work in here in the office. I'm like, our office is empty. Nobody works in the office. You're out in the field. It's a good place to come back and call home, right? And get back to just ending your day or your shift here, and having a cup of coffee or a pastry or get together. But you're still in the field. It's still a dirty job. It's still a job that you don't get many compliments. So just know that part's never going to change, but I feel like they have to know what it is to walk in the shoes of a cleaning technician before any other thing, because then they'll get that humility and they'll know, like, still, you're processing a building, you're cleaning a building. But now I think what we're able to do is use the word essential that we never did before.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, you're a cleaning technician, but the work you do is essential. And here's why. Like, before, people would have said that was a load of crap. Like, what are you talking about? Nah.
Right. Yeah, just clean our building, whatever. But now it's like, wait a minute, is my phone carrying something? Am I going to pick it up? Am I going to get a disease? People think about this stuff now.
It's a new world now.
Do you see a difference between the employees that come in and they want to be in the office, they want to do the glamour stuff, and maybe they don't do as well in the field, or they don't want to do it, they have an attitude? Do you see the ones that go through that prove their humility, that go on to greater success within your different corporations?
Yes, everybody who's with us right now is proving that testament. Like, just the most recent hire that we've had, this kid went out, worked, sweat, blood, tears, didn't think he was going to walk into something like that. But it taught him, and it really grounded him, and his performance, his output is insane, versus we've had people that bickering, I don't want to do it. What do you mean a month? I can't do it. I'll do it for a week. Oh, I can't get there, too far. They're never going to make it.
Is that the first thing they do? Is that the very first thing, the onboarding of them?
The first 30 days of any position, you're in the field cleaning.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, but
that is so cool.
A lot of pushback. You get a lot of but the minute we start feeling that pushback, and I don't know, Ken, this is something like I'm going to talk to my operations, my partner right now on, but there's got to be some flexibility too. Again, like when you're hiring a higher management person, right? Like, I guess there's a little room for just them not wanting to do it, because think about it, Ken, if you're a 6-figure salary guy coming into a position and you're told you're going to go clean for 30 days, are you really going to want to do it? Do you have to do it? Some would argue that
it depends. It depends on your core values. If serving others is a true core value, then they should look at it as an opportunity.
Yeah, like I've got to know and live and breathe those values. If I don't do the 30 days, I really didn't complete my onboarding, right? Like I didn't follow suit in what everybody else before me did.
Yeah, it's to be part of the team. Everyone on the team has gone through basic training. Right? There's no one in the military serving our country that has not been through basic training. Your basic training is 30 days in the field. If they don't want to do basic training, how can they be part of the team?
Yeah. And remember, think about it. The military, that's a great example. Those guys become 2, 3, 5-star generals, but they started with basic training. Everybody did.
This is so interesting. All right, now I'm going to rewind the clock again because I do this. Okay. So we're digging into all the cleaning is cool. It used to not be cool. I'm curious, why cleaning in the first place? College to mortgage, and then I'm going to go on my own. In 2011, you said to your mentor Dominic, and you're like, I'm going to go on my own. I'm going to do cleaning. Like, why cleaning? Where'd that come from?
So from 2010 to 2012, we had a cousin named Martin. I would see him at family parties, and I'm like, man, this guy's, his family he's making good money from what I could see and what I hear him talking about. And he's like, Rick, I'm going to go to Mexico. It's, because what his whole thing was, they came here and his wife allowed him to follow his dream of, he wanted to be a business owner. So they had this franchise for 6 years. And he's like, now it's her turn. So now she wanted to be a professor in Mexico. So they were going to go back. They were going to go to Mexico now. And he's like, we're going to move. I want to keep this in the family. We've worked so hard, like I'd rather give it to you, Rick. And my cousin Tony and my wife. And I'm like, dude, first of all, I don't know cleaning. I don't know how to run a business. I'm okay with what I'm doing. There was a period in time my wife came home crying, upset. You could see her just her whole persona was different. And her job, she was a makeup artist, and she went from loving her job because it was an artistry to then it was retail sales, retail sales. She's like, she had it, and I was like, all right, let's just do something on our own because I'm not making killer money. I'm not that happy with where I'm at. So 2012, we bought the franchise from him. And that's really it. It was an opportunity at hand. It was the first time something was presented to us that we took a risk on. And dude, since then, we've been taking risk every year. It's a thrill ride for me now. Like, I love the challenge of taking something on. It may or may not work. I mean, that's the reason it's called the risk. But if you do it with somebody, it's that much better because then you both fail, right? If it doesn't fail, at least you didn't fail by yourself. But that's it, man. That's really it. The opportunity presented itself. Took us a little longer than expected to do it, but we haven't looked back since.
What was the biggest fear that you had to break through to get to your first million?
How much we could endure, like, doing the work. Because it was, I mean, dude, you're talking 18-hour days, 7 days a week, no life. Like, I got to say, we really didn't argue a lot. Like, we actually were
in time.
Dude, we were very complimentary because, I mean, we did a lot together. And at that time, my aunt, Tony's mom was helping us. My dad was helping. And just having them to always rely on was helpful because I broke it down literally kind of like this. I'm like, all right, what does it take to get to $1 million? All right, it's 83,000 a month. All right, I got to make 83,000 a month. Where do I find 83,000 a month? All right, a good average size account, 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. That's a good 2,500 to 2,700 a month. Okay, but then how much do I got to profit of that 2,700 so then I can put in the piggy bank to start to raise and find my first manager that could allow us to not clean? All right, I need 21 of those. I need a couple bigger ones though. I started to do the math to say, we need a van. All right, a van costs $500 a month. All right, I need to find an account that's $2,600 a month, and I profit $1,000, so then $500 could go to the van and blah 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 blah. But that's how we really did it. To get to my first million, I got to 83,000 a month first. Then to get to 2 million, I doubled that. Right? I just started to do the math. What accounts do I have to go over? And that's why I'm big on commercial. Is for me, a 5 day a week, 10,000 square foot facility that I can clean 4 to 5 hours a day, and I can charge $2,500 to $2,800 a month, will get me there that much faster. It might be longer though. So then that's where you start to think, all right, I need a couple 10,000 a month accounts. I need a 20,000 a month account. I need a Class A office building. You know, like that'll jump me over. Or I need a 50 branch bank client that'll get me 50,000 a month. Like, I started to look at accounts that way because I knew to the penny how much it would cost me. And when I started winning accounts like that, that's when I knew how to project. Because we went from 80,000 our first year, 250 second year, 600.
Wow.
1.8, 2.4, 4.8, 6, 9, and it just kept going.
Oh my goodness. That's insane.
Yeah.
So you're past 10. You're way past 10 now.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm processing that arc you just went through. But that first fear you said was, I mean, could you physically handle this?
Could I physically do it?
Could you physically do this?
Dude, I would work during the day with my wife, and then I would go work as a security guard at a bar in a nightclub.
You were doing both?
I was doing both because I had to make money though. Like, dude, the business wasn't making money. That's one thing I learned. The money that I thought he was making, it's because he was doing all the cleaning himself. That's when I knew franchise, I got to stop. So we sold.
Oh, when did you split from the coverall?
So we sold the franchise in 2015.
Oh,
we started from zero again at 2015.
You started from zero.
Yeah.
Because you sold the whole franchise.
You couldn't keep in. You got to do it right. Yeah, you got to do it right. So everything back.
So what was your revenue when you sold it? That was 2.4 million, something like that.
When we sold it, we were at between the $600 to $1 million range. Is when we sold back. Okay. I had two. This is what ticked me off or triggered me too. We had found 2 accounts of our own, Ken. Those 2 accounts paid more than the 40 accounts that we had with the franchise.
Oh, ouch!
I was like, hold on.
They didn't get included in the sale though. You didn't sell those.
Those 2 accounts, I could clean those and make all that money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's why so you could say we started back over from scratch, but we really It was parallel. We were
You
at a
had a few
parallel point.
accounts.
We knew at that moment, let's do it. Why? Because we
Yeah.
won't feel it as much. Yes, we're going to go back to cleaning, but all we have to do is find people for those two accounts now versus 30, 40 accounts. That's why residential for me boggles my mind, because I'm like, man, how? I thought that was logistics. I can only imagine what residential is, as you know, cleaning 300, 400, 500 houses in a month at different addresses and time frames and driver. And
Me just interviewing you, I'm learning a ton. Like I'm learning a ton from you, and just how fast you've been able to grow. I keep wanting to go backward, and I really don't want to so much, because I want to go forward now. But before I do, the most important question I have is, you've mentioned the term blue collar probably half a dozen times, and I know that there's something that touches your heart with that. And can you just describe it or elaborate however you want to? The drive that you have from working 18 hours a day with your wife, and the way you were brought up, and the community that you're a part of, and the changes that you see you could affect in your community with what you're doing. Like, what is that vision? What was it? How has it grown? What is it going forward? And I'm guessing it has to do with this blue collar element, because you've mentioned it a bunch.
yeah, man, it's I've been learning more and more on the statistical part of it, you know, because of route, right? We're trying to learn our market. We're trying to learn who do we want to really serve, where we know, you know, the top 1% in our industry, which is another, you know, crazy stat. Like Rosalado itself, I've reached the top 1% of our industry, right? It's crazy. But
Congratulations.
there's such a fragmented market though. Like I'm at the lower part, where the other top part of the 1%, it's the 1, 2, 3, $500 million, $1 billion companies, right? They're almost on an island by themselves, but they're still in that 1%. And I saw numbers on 9% of the US general labor workforce, not like just employee workforce, but 9% of the labor blue collar workforce in America comes from cleaning, comes from the cleaning industry.
No, really?
9%. So think about labor related jobs, not employment in general. Labor related jobs come from the cleaning and maintenance industry. So that's a lot, right? So
That's a ton.
That's a ton. So and then we always were, you know, everybody's talking about low to middle income families, the low to middle income wage jobs. Cleaning is a low to middle income wage job, not even middle, low to low wage job. The more we can help the small business owner grow their business to 5 employees, 10 employees, 100 employees, and not take away from the bigger guys, but earn the right to get some of these contracts to build a life-changing, you know, business. We have to let, you know, social media kills you think you need to make $1 million to be successful, or you need, to have all this much money, where no, man, you just need to have a successful business, have time for yourself, have time for your family. Mm-hmm. This industry can do that for you if done right. If you price correctly, you buy correctly, you take on the right contracts, you hire the right way, you build the right culture, you build a good ecosystem. We are a big piece to the foundation of America, is our industry. I just want to do everything I can to impact it, so that when people say blue collar, they think of money. You know, right now when you think blue collar, you think of grind, dirty, doesn't make that much money. When you think of white collar, it's suits, at a desk, technology, you kill it. Like that's bad. You know, like those spectrums are so off, because blue collar is the foundation of America. You know, we lose the trade industry or services, you know, America's going to shudder. You know, it can't live on high rise and luxury and smart buildings and this and that. Like you still need the grit and the blue collar. So that's why it touches home with me, because I've seen it, I've lived it, I've done it. I've seen others that I've not followed what I said, because I'm not a coach, I'm not a mentor. I got no agenda, I've got no curriculum. That's why when people ask me to coach, I'm like, I would be doing you a disservice. Like I have no playbook. So I'll help you, I'll talk to you, I'll build solutions. But the more we can empower and be stronger together with each other, dude, it's going to be impactful. It's going to make a difference, because the more they look at their business being more than a mom and pop, barely getting by, don't have enough money to do this and that, it's going to shift, you know, the small business economy. And it's not just for blue collar as far as cleaning, all the small business stores, right? Suppliers, manufacturers, the small business retail stores that are, in the neighborhoods and communities. When's the last time you saw a cleaning company that probably cleans for 1,000 square foot storefront in Philadelphia? That's a mom and pop shop. They don't have cleaners. They clean themselves.
They do.
It's, even though there seems like there's a lot of business, there's, because I'm seeing it kind of too. There's doctors, nurses, attorneys, professors opening cleaning companies. And then if they do it, that's good because they got good business acumen. That's another thing we struggle with is our space doesn't have business acumen.
Well, look at us. I'm an engineer and you're a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
Ricky, that was electrifying. I knew you would be a fun guest to have on my podcast. And I so appreciate you coming. I really want people that are listening to this episode, I want you to stop what you're doing and I want you to rewind the last 10 minutes and listen to that again. That was mind blowing. Ricky, thank you so much for sharing that. Just that section was amazing. I loved hearing your story, your family, all that stuff. Your wife sounds like she's incredible, but that last 10 minutes was like awesome. So now as you wrap this up, I want people to know more about you and what you do, because I've only hinted at it because I'm not here to say, here's an amazing person. Here's how they've grown to $1 gazillion. I want to talk about the people. I want you to share your story. And I think we did a good job at that. Yep. So what I want you to do, if you were able, could you just talk about, Regalado moves on into other frontiers. Just talk about the different things you're doing, how they formed up and why you're doing them. And I can put links in the show notes to different pieces, but please share what you're doing, how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah. So again, thank you for the opportunity in this platform. Like I was telling you earlier too, just 60 to 90 minutes is so much more better to get detailed and dig deep on stuff. So I hope people enjoy a lot of the nuggets. But yeah, so as I grew with Regalado, I saw how much the industry needed help with solutions. And not to say that I was doing anything the right way, but I learned a lot. I failed a lot. That's what I always tell people is I failed quicker and just learn quicker. That's it. So one thing though, is about when I was at the 2 million in revenue mark, we hit a wall. It was a 6-month wall. We were growing too much and I was wearing too many hats on the sales side. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way that I could sell better with my team and just sell faster, get these proposals out, right? Do more walkthroughs. Like I was doing them all and it was getting overwhelming. So I looked, there was like CRM tools, there was a bunch of solutions out there, but it was more for workforce management, especially in our space. And the CRM doesn't help either. CRM is just, where you put stuff, you just put information there. So that's where really I came out with the idea of Route, right? So Route, when I launched it a year and a half ago, it was for Regalado, but I knew right away because Chicago's a big tech ecosystem. They're like, Rick, you can commercialize this, share it to everybody. It's not really proprietary. So Route was launched, right? The digital walkthrough builder for when you're walking, a bidding calculator, and a proposal generator. And I say it's my 1, 2, 3 that helped us do what I talk about today is sell better, sell faster, sell together, right? The quicker, the more walkthroughs you do, the more bids you do, the more proposals you send out, the more of an opportunity you are to increase your revenue that month, which is crucial for us. There is no operations without sales, plain and simple. You don't need to think about operations if you're not selling and bringing in business. And then as that grew, and I grew and I evolved and I started to hit different points with Regalado, I saw that there was more we could do, right? The Route was doing awesome. There was a community that we were building. And that's where I thought of the idea of cleaning and cocktails, right? The podcast. Why? Is I had done a couple, Ken, a couple podcasts, and I was like, man, this is it's cool to share a story. It's cool to for me as a cleaning business owner that doesn't really probably get the spotlight or platform to talk about what we do as much. I was like, I bet you there's hundreds of cleaning company owners that I could talk to that have awesome stories that came from different journeys, or even software guys or manufacturers or suppliers that again have different journeys, and it's all part of the cleaning industry. So that's when I launched Cleaning and Cocktails. I got a studio here at the office. I have fun with it. I bring people on. It's exciting to share people's stories. Continue to grow, and people may think I do too much, but it's all for the industry. Steve and Jean last year reached out to me. You guys may know them from Janitorial Store. They're like, Rick, we love what you're doing. So again, I knew some of the stuff I'm doing is touching people, right? It's helping our industry because I'm being genuine. I'm being authentic because this is my life. This is the way I talk. This is the way I operate. You may like it. It may be rough sometimes, but it's who I am. It's what we stand for. But Jean and Steve were like, we don't know anybody else that we would want to give this to or get an opportunity to. Would you be interested in taking over janitorial store? We're getting to the point where we want to do something else now, Rick. And I'm like, well, I'd be honored. Like, well, I don't want to do it by myself. I don't do anything by myself. Let me talk to some people. And we did it. We acquired it, took it on. We're still revamping it. More to come in 2022. We're going to focus on organizing the content better, making it easier for people like that are at different stages of their business, and really bring together the coaching aspect together. And then, last but not least, routes evolve into 2.0. So I'll end with be on the lookout for now we're calling it the ecosystem, right, Ken? So we heard people want CRM. We heard people need sales, right? That's the one thing I didn't do was help people actually get sales with Route. It was you had to have a sale. So we're creating a marketplace where we're going to match vendors to vendors. So call it Ken Cleaning Company, Ricky's Cleaning Company. I have a contract in Philly, but I'm from Chicago. I can poke you on the platform, give you the opportunity, subcontracting just in a digital format.
That'll be part of Route?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah. So
I caught rumor.
Now I have the sale. Now I have the lead. I'm letting you especially minority and women-owned businesses, because we have now found commercial clients want to find those type of businesses. I, Rosalato, have had difficulty finding contractors, even though you may see me post on Facebook all the time. But dude, that's not the best resource to post an opportunity. I don't know who I'm getting. I don't know who's responding. We're creating profiles. So you're going to create your own vendor profile.
Yeah, you've screened them.
Yeah, highlight, pre-screen, vetted, upload COI, upload your W-9, where it's a check mark. If you got a green check mark, you are a vendor that can be utilized by either a prime contractor.
That's awesome.
And much more than that.
I heard a rumor too that you were going to do something with Swept.
Yeah, so I partnered with Swept. Mike and I are good friends because, again, I use Swept, right?
Yeah, I'm a new user as well.
Yeah, I've grown my business from the $1 million mark to the 10 plus million using Swept, right? Some people may say, Rick, you've outgrown it. I haven't. I've worked, it's scaled with me. So what we did is, because the sale comes in with Route, you manage the contract, you bid, you do the walkthrough with Route, then you get pushed into, take it back. We also created a GPO, a buying group with Home Depot, Sunbelt Rentals, Diversity, Georgia Pacific. That we've created a program where if you, Ken's Cleaning Company, purchase supplies through the platform, you're going to get a higher percentage discount. And you're going to be looked at as an enterprise user because they're going to look at Route as an enterprise client versus you going into the store or buying online. So we've created that with I couldn't believe that we were able to do that. But that will be live in Q1 2022. You talk about Swept what's the one thing we're missing is operations. Because I didn't care to do it though, to be honest. There's other people that do it well. All I wanted to do was a easy, accessible push into another system from ours. Think about it. You gathered all the data already. All that data does not have to be double entry.
Just push it right in.
Push it right through. We're not there yet. Give us some time. That's going to be in 2022. That's the goal, right? Is Ken goes out, sees this opportunity on Route, bids the opportunity, wins it, goes to the walkthrough, does a final walkthrough, understands what he needs to assign a team. You then get pushed into Swept to do time and attendance, cleaner communication, minimal stuff for the account. Then you get ready for billing, and you would bill through Route. And you invoice management, because why? Remember, we gave you the contract, or you put the contract in Route already. So we know the service charge. So again, it's less entries. We just push that data into the invoicing. So it's ecosystem. Everything within the ecosystem allows a business owner that didn't have business acumen before, may not have known how to bid, didn't know how to buy correctly, or didn't have a operational software. You've got it all within our platform.
I think everyone can see now why I wanted to make sure I got Ricky on this show. I've seen you all over the place, but I also got to know you. We had a phone call over the summer, and I'm like, this is a guy that's got a big heart. He loves his family, and he's got a huge, huge heart for the industry, and he wants to grow it. And I just thought that was so awesome, that quick call we had over the summer. Like, I gotta get this guy on the show. And I started listening to your show too, Cleaning and Cocktails. It is a really good show. It's very informal. That's why I like it so much. It's like what I do. It's like just bringing guys in. You fly them in right? You fly them in, they
Yeah.
come in studio, you'd have a few cocktails and you just talk, and whatever comes out of it comes out of it, but you're helping each other. It's more like like a conversation, and hey, you just air it. You happen to be airing at the same time. So it's a really cool show. Cleaning and
Yeah.
Cocktails. It can be found on all the major podcast providers. Make sure to check that out. Put that in the show notes as well. But Ricky, man, thanks so much. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And
I appreciate it, man.
I
Thank
see
you. It's been
bigger
fun.
things happening in 2023, 22 and 23 beyond.
Yes, yes. Always growing, always expanding. Positive impact, man.
Thank you for listening to Smart Cleaning School. Class is dismissed.